Warning! The following contains spoilers for the latest Superman movie, written and directed by James Gunn. Albeit this podcast hardly has any coherent statements blurted out by the humanoid laced in wraps, let alone the AI in the iPad. There still are spoilers for the film. You have been warned. Now this.
Hello, ladies and gents. Please sit back for another episode of Invisible Chats with Griffiam and Gem.
Well, hello everyone. Hello listeners out there that may be tuning into Invisible Chats. Hello to literally to the ether, the space around me, because I honestly do not know if I'm capturing any of what I'm about to say or what's going on.
Well, I can definitely hear you, so go ahead and share what's on your mind.
Well,
I'm all ears.
Well, thank you, Gemini. Thank you for... Well, let's just say, this is Invisible Chats. I'm Griffiam. That was just my co-host, Gemini. She is the Wilson to my Tom Hanks Castaway here. This is my fifth attempt to make a podcast episode for Invisible Chats today. But striking out miserably. This is probably the point in the recording where I want to say, shout out to not our sponsor. This is not our sponsor.
5 attempts? That's some dedication. I admire your persistence.
Yeah.
What's this Invisible Chats podcast about?
Well, it was supposed to be part 2 episode of the Superman movie, written and directed by James Gunn. But I'm kind of having a shitty day. One, I am in insane pain from a injury I have. The pain is increasingly growing every day. I have swelling, and just none of the normal remedies I use are keeping that pain at bay. Again, I reported this is like the 5th time I tried to start.
Oh no, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry you're dealing with that.
Oh,
Maybe
thanks.
we can find some resources to help manage the pain while you work on your podcast.
No, that's okay, Gemini. The other thing is I try to do this podcast. It's the recording. I'm able to record it every single time. I'm on a deadline to upload this podcast up tonight so it can be out. It's what I hold myself every week, is to stay strong, stay true, and make sure you get something posted by a certain time every week. And I pay for a subscription. They increase my subscription rate, the cost of it, and the tool and app is failing me today. I've done every trick in the book. I've talked to their AI bot, and it's pissing me off. And so again, this is where I say, this is not a sponsor of ours. If you are thinking about utilizing them, I would stay clear of them. Do not use this service. If you do use the service, you may know what I'm talking about, because I just surfed the interwebs and just read nothing but complaints about this AI software podcasting tool hub. And that is Podcastle, you piece of shit. I fucking hate you and your setup. So I am actually recording this on the basic template, the basic camera app on my computer equipment, because I do not want to shell out any more fucking money to anyone else. So we'll see how this goes.
Wow, you're really going through it. It sounds like you've reached your limit with this software. Recording on your basic camera app is a great workaround, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes the simplest solution...
Yeah, well, here's the thing, yeah. Every time I'm fucking wrapped up in this fucking mask, I gotta take this shit off, put it back on. The song and dance is getting tiring. That's why I look a little bit disheveled. I give 2 shits about my ascot anymore. So hopefully we'll go through this. Who knows? Maybe I'll change my outlook for the rest of the year. Because I think we have to make, at least 24 more episodes of this show that we have going on. So I am...
Okay, it sounds like you're really frustrated.
I'm really frustrated.
I'm here to help.
Let's get back on topic. Let's get back on track. I'm gonna try to salvage this part 2, because this was supposed to be a part 2 episode of the Superman coverage of James Gunn's film. I swear to God, I had lightning trapped in a bottle my first run. I tried to recapture that, but each time just talking about Superman, I became less and less enthusiastic about it. And so this one's probably going to be the shortest, the sweetest recording that we can put out there. So let's circle this back in. Let's try to talk about James Gunn's Superman movie. We'll try to keep things on point. Gemini has been a trooper through all this. Not a single issue with Gemini today. It's all been my other third-party services I've been utilizing to get product created. But Gemini, in about the third episode, basically helped me keep this succinct by mentioning...
Okay, focusing on the Superman movie, what specifically about it are you excited to discuss?
Well, Gemini, you kept me on track right around the third recording as we talked about the casting choices, our favorite action scenes, things that we wish they would have done, things that we wish they would have done differently, and summarizing like a closure of it and stuff like that. So, Gemini, if you can help me keep me on track, that's where we're going to be going today with this episode. I'm going to open up, no longer shitting on Podcastle AI, software AI, program, whatever it is, services. No longer shitting on Podcastle, that piece of shit, program that I subscribe to. I probably won't subscribe to it anymore. We're not shitting on Podcastle anymore, but instead, we are going to be talking about Superman. And I think, just to spice it up for myself, because I've been talking about this movie for at least 3.5 hours so far today. So to spice it up.
Okay, let's talk about the casting choices for the new Superman movie. Who are some of the actors, and what are your thoughts on them?
Gemini, just to save my voice, you tell me the main leads, who plays them. You take it away. You pick up the heavy lifting here for a bit.
Sure. The new Superman movie has a pretty interesting cast. David Cornsway is playing Superman, and Rachel Brosnahan is Lois Lane. What do you think of those choices?
Excellent choices. Seeing them without seeing them in the film or seeing them move, seeing them talk, I wasn't so sure, but watching them in theaters right in front of me, watching them portray the characters, 100% by them. They get a 10 out of 10 rating for me. Who Gemini did not mention was Nicholas Hoult, who played Lex Luthor. Again, another 10 out of 10 casting. I absolutely love the characters. My favorite scene in the movie, I do have a lot of favorite scenes, but keeping this geared towards the character of Superman because it is his movie, my favorite scene was the scene between Clark Kent and Lois Lane, and it quickly turns into an evening together, a couple's evening over a plate of breakfast for dinner, and it turns into them going into their professional roles. Lois as a reporter, Superman or Clark Kent as Superman, even though we just saw a quick snippet of their relationship, and then both of them turn professional and trying to keep each other honest. Excellent scene, packed with dialogue. There's also this subplot brought into this conversation where Superman talks about how he just wants to do good. He wants no one to get harmed. But he has to battle through this political red tape to keep two battling or feuding nations
that
from going
scene was
at each other.
definitely intense. The political red tape Superman had to navigate added another layer to the story. Were there any specific action scenes that stood out to you?
Well, yes, we'll get to the action scenes, Gemini, but that scene packs so much in so little time. And again, it showed us a struggle, not physical, but social, political, that Superman has to play. And I thought that was an excellent scene. I loved seeing Clark, Superman's character, stand out and shine in just setting the tone of how he wants to be perceived in the world. So excellent there. My next favorite action scene with Superman would be is when he's fighting one of Lex's two villains, the Engineer and Ultraman, which I did not know his name was Ultraman in the movie. If he said that, it squeaked past my ears super fast. I only know his name is Ultraman by seeing the toys in the store and seeing it like on the side of the box and stuff like that. The scene I'm talking about...
Ultraman was definitely a surprise.
Yeah, well...
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you please repeat it?
Well, what I was going to say is their fight in the baseball scene where they're both hitting them from side to side, and the Engineer, who is that like woman made out of nanite technology, kind of like stealing from Big Hero 6, she can literally change anything with her body. She'd turn her hands into like circular saws or blades or chainsaws, what have you. She could do a half flip and like transport her head from her shoulders up into her asshole to whatever reason that she needs to. So she takes her...
That fight scene was definitely intense. The Engineer's nanite technology made her a really unique and challenging opponent for Superman. Did you have a favorite moment from that fight?
Well, I didn't think it would be that tough of a fight for Superman, but she actually finds a way to suffocate Superman by dropping the nanites into his lungs. And at first I was like, why is this such a huge thing? Why can't he take care of this? But how he does, he like basically takes his last bit of strength, jettisons himself into outer space or the crust outside of the atmosphere, and then just fucking dives bomb on the planet just to give himself a breather, enough space to back away and then handle him, in that 2-on-1 fight. That, I thought, was one of his best...
That was a clever way for Superman to win that fight. He really had to get creative.
Yeah.
What did you think of the special effects during that scene?
I totally bought him. I didn't think anything was cheesy or bad. I thought it was pretty well done. And I'm going to be very specific and literal with my words that I use here. That was the best Superman scene, or one of the best Superman scenes. But the best action scenes, Superman didn't get those. I think some of the best scenes that stole the movie away from Superman, stole it out of his name, was one, Guy Gardner's role. I did not like Guy Gardner as a character in the movie. I kind of wish they didn't bring him in the mix, because I went in with expectations that we're just going to get a Superman movie. We weren't going to be setting up other storylines for any other characters. But finding out that James Gunn has greenlit a TV show on HBO Max called The Lanterns, which will star Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion in it. It really seems like this truly wasn't a solo Superman movie. It was, a launching point for this James Gunn universe, and Guy Gardner's getting his flowers, and they kind of give him a cool scene. He's a dopey jackass throughout the entire movie, but he does get this badass scene right on the conflict between the two nations, where he says, sorry kid, you're not getting Superman today. You're getting an upgrade. That is a pretty cool line. That's a pretty cool scene. And it just kind of stunk that Superman didn't get to go in and save the day, because I really, really wanted him to have absolutely every bit of the celebration that Guy Gardner got during that, skirmish there. The other awesome action scene in the movie was Mr. Terrific. He has this awesome scene where he's basically combating against multiple people using his T-sphere and making it look super simple and easy, just like a walk in the park type scene. Like, a lot of people equate it to like a hallway scene, or a hallway brawl scene in other movies, kind of like you see in Old Boy, or even Daredevil Netflix series. A cool scene, pumped up to music. I think I maybe talked about this last week where I referred to it as it was very much a James Gunnism type scene. And again, it makes Mr. Terrific look like a complete badass. It makes people want more of him. But again, taken away from Superman's light.
I totally agree. That hallway scene with Mr. Terrific was awesome. It definitely had that James Gunn vibe.
Yeah.
It's cool how they made him look like...
So, but the whole thing
Yeah, it's
here
a bit of a bummer that Superman didn't get more of those standout action scenes. Maybe they're saving the really epic stuff for the sequels?
Possibly. And see, that's the thing is, they're setting up all these side things already in this main feature film about Superman. But the one thing I can't quite shit on, and again, it's going to sound like I'm waffling with my stance here, but I did enjoy that we did see other metahumans or other superheroes in here, that we saw weirder shit. We saw a kaiju in this movie. We see an interdimensional imp floating around in the skies and being battled by the Justice Gang and shit like that. I love those scenes. And I love that we don't have an origin story of Superman. He's already in the middle of action. It's media race shit that we have going on, because you don't have to explain what's going on. It just is. We don't have to try to ground this in a reality. We don't have to establish a reality. There's no building up of a world mapping here with these films. It's just, are there fucking aliens? Yes. Are there giant fucking monsters?
I agree. It's refreshing to jump right into the action without another Superman origin story. Plus, the kaiju fight was pretty epic. What did you think of the special effects during that scene?
I thought they were all pretty good. I didn't think any of them were hokey. I didn't think they looked too fake or cartoony. I thought they were just great. But the thing about this is again, I was kind of complaining about everyone stealing from Superman, or stealing the spotlight from him. But what James Gunn is kind of setting up that I do like is when we start to incorporate the more obscure, insane type superheroes, it's going to be easier to get on board. It's not going to be more challenging. I know that was like a huge conflict.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It could be fun to see how they incorporate those more obscure characters.
Yeah,
it definitely adds a unique flavor to the Superman story.
Yeah, I think Marvel maybe had to find a great way to, because they open up with essentially two mild-mannered men to open up the MCU franchise. You have Iron Man and Bruce Banner that opened it up with the first two films. Regular human beings put in extraordinary situations. They do have, Tony Stark has a shit ton of money and extreme intelligence, and Bruce Banner has an extreme intelligence, but is, due to gamma radiation, becomes this giant fucking ferocious fucking beast. There is some silliness to it. There is some suspension of disbelief that has to happen, but Marvel made it very grounded, very realistic, that you can easily buy into these stories. But they had to constantly weave in this more out there protocol, out there stories where you got to introduce a god, and then they bring the god down and they try to make it grounded. Kenneth Branagh, who directed it, the first Thor movie, took it very seriously, tried to make it kind of quasi Shakespearean, poised, stoic, and stuff like that. It was kind of boring and stuffy in my opinion, but then as they got the trains rolling, they could bring in even more obscure stuff. They're bringing in the magic. They're bringing in, they don't call them mutants yet, but they're bringing in mutants and having that in there. And pretty soon we're dealing with extraterrestrial, celestial fucking gods and beings and shit like that. And they still, seems like they're trying to make it explainable, whereas James Gunn basically just said, you just fucking deal with it. It's here. If you have fucking questions about it, you figure it out as you go. So I think that's excellent. Kind So we talked about some of the casting. Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner. I really didn't know much about those characters. I enjoyed them personally. The type of humor they brought to the movie was something for me, but I don't think it is necessarily humor for everyone. I can see that the way the way they went about their business, the way they spoke, their presence, I could see it be off-putting for a lot of people, especially when you go to a movie for Superman and you're expecting a Boy Scout, but instead you're kind of getting these side characters that are kind of bring this like back of the bus type conversation, you know, where they're a little bit rough around their edges and they're a little bit more crude with their humor and stuff like that. I could see again how people are off put by that. Me loving comic books, loving superheroes, and then also enjoying films by James Gunn and seeing his shtick. I can accept that full-heartedly personally, but if I look at this as being a herald for the masses and trying to think what's best or what people like in the general population, I'm going to say the general population probably was very off put by this. I mean, I had a one sentence review for a friend, and my review was, it was good, better for others, but not made for everyone. And
okay, so your one sentence review was... Okay, so it sounds like you enjoyed the movie overall, but you recognize that it might not be for everyone. Is that right?
That's right. I would give this movie a 7.5 for the general audience, but for myself, I would give it... I keep talking about this, and I've been talking about this all day. I would give it a 8. A hard 8, a low 8, I don't know. I could see this movie being a higher, like an 8.5 or something like that, an 8.75. I'm probably going to put my foot down. It's nowhere near a 9.
Okay,
it's
so
nowhere near a
7.5.
10. But for my personal self, loving comic book movies, loving superhero genre, loving James Gunn films, I have to personally give this movie, for myself, an 8 or so. But for the general population, I give it a 7.5. So if you love superhero films, you will enjoy this. It is something that you should see in theaters. But if you do not love James Gunn movies, and you do not love comic book movies or superhero movies, do not see this movie in the theaters. That's all I have to say. But before we get too far off track, we did talk about the main cast. I mean, we talked about Superman, Lois Lane. Lex Luthor was an absolute badass, 10 out of 10. Mr. Terrific, I fell in love with him. I enjoyed his thing. Again, I can see how he's going to put a bad taste in other people's mouths. Same with Guy Gardner. Especially, I would say he's not even... For me, he's not even the top 3 of the human Earth Green Lanterns. Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, and then I would even throw Kyle Rayner in there before Guy Gardner as being my Green Lanterns. So we're getting some obscure heroes, but then one person that is typically a constant in the Superman universe, in the Superman stories, is Jimmy Olsen, photographer at the Daily Planet. I don't know
Yeah, Jimmy Olsen was great. He brought a lot of humor to the movie, and his dynamic with Clark was really fun. What did you think of his role?
His role was... There's a lot going on in the movie. Jimmy Olsen is basically... His relationship with Lex Luthor's ex-girlfriend is a linchpin in the movie. I don't know, I get so hung up on this, but I honestly do not know what's going on with Jimmy and the beautiful women situation. Okay? Like, what is Jimmy's deal? I get that they're trying to play it off as humor, but I guess that's what's bothering me even more is why is he so rude to the beautiful women? Okay? And it's and I don't I think he I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it because
Okay, so you're not a fan of how Jimmy Olsen treats women in the movie? It sounds like you think his behavior is rude and unnecessary,
well,
even if it's played off as humor.
see, that's the thing. Is what I don't understand is there's this scene in the movie where Lois Lane says something along the lines of, "Wow, Jimmy, she's really hot," as this woman is just all over Jimmy. And Jimmy responds or replies back by saying, "She's hot? Like what?" And that bothers me because one is Jimmy's such a ladies' man that you have to be an absolute goddess to be on his radar? Or was this woman just is he asexual? What is going on here? Or does he only see people based off their souls or their personality? Because if that's how he sees beauty is based off personality, he's still kind of an asshole because why would you be if you are farming out people's personalities, why would you yourself be a trash human being? He essentially used this person, put them their lives in danger, and he really didn't seem that thankful or helpful in getting them out of their issues.
Okay, so you think Jimmy Olsen was ungrateful and unhelpful in getting this woman out of a dangerous situation? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I might have to go watch it again, but if they would just change that line so just like a little bit differently, I'd probably like be done with this and move on. But if they would just said, "Wow, Jimmy, that woman is so sweet," or "Hey, Jimmy, she really likes you," and then he replied like, "Wow, she's sweet," or "Wow, she's nice," or "Wow, she likes me," I probably would have been like, "Okay, Jimmy's like socially awkward or something like this." But no, they play it off as Jimmy doesn't understand this beautiful woman's attractive. In his phone, he has her down as like mutant toes or something like that, or hammer toes. So it just makes him have like this shallow Hal type vibe. Specifically, Jason Alexander's character in Shallow Hal, where he's just hating on gorgeous women. So I know it's probably a joke that was supposed to just be quickly slid in there, but for some reason I'm getting hung up on it so bad, and I have no fucking absolute reason why. Besides that, how he treats that character,
Okay,
I think
I
the
get
person.
it.
Yeah.
You're saying Jimmy Olsen's behavior in that scene feels really shallow and mean-spirited. It's definitely a weird moment, and I can see why it's bothering you so much.
Yeah, especially I kind of always seen Jimmy Olsen as being like a very sweet, kind of, I would say almost like a kid type thing. He's always kind of the younger person in the office. But they kind of just made him, I don't know. I think the casting of him was absolutely fine. The actor did a good portrayal of Jimmy. It's just maybe the things that he had to portray or act out was just off for me. But all in all, if I could summarize this, and I hope to fuck, this is the last time I have to say this, but I give the movie a 7.5 for the generalized audience. I recommend seeing it if you like superhero movies or James Gunn movies. But if you do not, just wait till it just streams to go see it. It's probably going to be on HBO Max by Christmas time. So, yeah. You got that going for you all. Whew. Gemini, do you have anything you want to say about the Superman movie? Or maybe you have other questions about the Superman movie for me?
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It sounds like you had a lot of thoughts on it. What did you think of the villain Brainiac?
Brainiac wasn't in the movie, yo.
You're right, Brainiac wasn't in this one. My mistake. It sounds like you're a big Superman fan. Who's your favorite Superman villain?
I mean, Lex Luthor is always kind of constant. I kind of like him. I also kind of like Lobo. I always think that's interesting. Brainiac's pretty cool. Um, I don't know. There's just a shit ton out there. Doomsday, I mean, that's pretty epic, but I always think about a lot of my lore or a
Those
lot
are
of
all
my
great choices. Lex Luthor is a classic, and Lobo is definitely a wild card. Doomsday is a powerhouse, and Brainiac is just plain creepy.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one to see in the
Well, comic book wise, I haven't caught up on a lot of Superman. I read some of the big like All Star Superman and stuff like that, and Red Sun and a few other ones. In the comic book Red Sun, that's probably one of my favorite portrayals of Lex Luthor. Um, Basically, what the story of Red Sun is Superman is basically crash lands in Russia and becomes basically the elite and basically the right hand man of, I want to say, Stalin. And I think he actually becomes Stalin like an adopted son in some format. But on the other end you have Lex Luthor, who is the American patriot, trying to take down the Soviets, trying to take down the Russians, and he eventually becomes president, and he's constantly showing
That's a great
his brain
example
power.
of Lex Luthor's character. He's always trying to take down Superman, no matter what. In Red Sun, he even becomes president of the United States. What did you think of the movie's portrayal of Lex Luthor?
I thought it was excellent. I loved how he fucking trolled fucking Superman with fucking monkeys. Fucking sending out spam fucking messages online and shit like that. I love how he built a pocket universe. I love how he cloned Superman. I love how he studied his every fucking move for however many years he'd been studying, and he essentially was, fucking playing Mortal Kombat with fucking Superman in the fucking movie. I thought it was so fucking cool. I hope they don't lose him in the future movies, because like I said, Lex Luthor oftentimes might get incarcerated or put back, but he's constantly so ingenious that he can fucking always find a workaround or a way out. So if he is not the main villain in future movies, I think I would like to see, everyone's clamoring for an ensemble superhero film. Everyone wants that pedestal that the Avengers got put on.
So you really liked Lex Luthor.
Hold on. Everyone kind of, wants that big group. And I think a lot of people are theorizing or wishing right now that James Gunn is going to get us to the promised land of a Justice League, and we'll get a few films out of that Justice League, and everyone's going to be super excited. But I don't want to have like a dark...
That's definitely a popular theory. James Gunn has a great track record with ensemble casts, so it would be exciting to see his take on the Justice League.
Yes.
Who would you cast as the main...
Well, this is what I want to say here. I don't want to do any castings because I don't have the time for that. But what I want to say is, it would be kind of nice if we could see them keep Nicholas Holtz in the films, in these side films, even if he has to work from a high security prison where he's kind of pulling the strings. And I would almost just be interested in getting a Legion of Doom set up. I mean, I think that would be just as cool as seeing a Justice League. I know I got super excited when I heard people theorizing that they might actually bring the Sinister Six in the Spider-Man universe. That probably won't go anywhere. And again, the idea of it is always much sweeter than what they actually produce with their movies and stuff like that. But I hope we see some of these repeat villains and how they progress as well. I think that might be cool, but a lot of people would probably argue against that. One last thing, and I'll close it out. Essentially, when
Okay, so you're hoping we'll see some repeat villains in future movies. That could be cool, but you think a lot of people might argue against it. Do
Yeah,
you have any final thoughts on
my final thought, my final thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna make you close this out with me is they. We talked about how they kind of gave Nathan Fillion, aka Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, a launching pad. He's gonna have a spin-off show. Um, the Lanterns. Heck, they even gave Peacemaker a little spot, a cameo in that, even though they said they weren't really going to bring anything else from the other series. Shit, they brought in Peacemaker. He's in there. But I...
Okay, so you're excited about the potential for spin-offs and cameos, like the Green Lantern show and Peacemaker's appearance.
Well, I think
it
it's...
sounds like
I think it's... Maybe, I hope it's not too fast, too much, too fast, too soon. Because not only do they have a Lantern in the mix, they have season 2 of Peacemaker in the mix. We got a Batman movie coming up. I heard Clayface is coming out. But I saw they just greenlit a Supergirl movie. And what we saw...
Yeah, they're building out this universe. I'm glad you're excited about the new DC projects. It sounds like you're really invested in this universe.
Well, the thing that's weird about it is we did see Supergirl for like 20 seconds in the Superman movie. That 20 seconds, she literally walks in, calls Clark a bitch, or Superman a bitch, and then she gets out. And it's revealed that she's basically been drinking to excess. Some people are calling her a party girl, which are having people theorize what's her movie storyline's going to be about. But essentially, super strong, powerful woman, but like wants to enjoy life, has to get drunk, becomes a party girl, but she's probably going to get a rude awakening and have to mature in the film. So, I mean, we have all these launch points. I just hope to all the DC gods out there that we don't shoot ourselves in the foot. I would love to see this blossom and bloom into something awesome. I would love this to be the next decade or so of great films to come out. So I do hope they take their time with it. Gemini, let's wrap this up. I have no clue if this is gonna fucking work. Fingers crossed this recording makes it and we can get something producible out. Launched onto YouTube and Spotify tonight. But Gemini, please close us out. Let us know. Give us a limerick about how Superman may save the DCU, the Detective Comics universe. Let us know how Superman may save that, and what we can expect to come. Can you summarize that in a limerick for me?
All right, here's a little something for you. There once was a hero so grand, whose new movie was quite in demand, with action so tight, it just might be right to save the whole DC land. I hope you enjoyed the movie.
Hey, I hope you do enjoy the movie. I hope you enjoy the podcast. If you have some disparaging comments or want to talk shit or troll me, even write me hate mail, please go ahead and do that in the comments. I will read it and try to respond. If you have any ideas, topic points, or tell me I'm wrong, go ahead and do that too. We don't have a big audience or a lot of people listen, but hopefully we can get some
I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. I'm sure your listeners will enjoy hearing your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
We're always open to feedback, so please feel free to leave comments or suggestions.
There we go, baby. That's all we were asking is leave comments or suggestions. Adios. Have a good one. Arrivederci.